Welcome back, Built to Scale. I'm Krista, founder of Iris Partnering, and today we're talking about one of those topics that comes up almost constantly for us in every conversation we have. We're going to talk about paid marketing. And honestly, I think paid marketing is one of those things where business owners are hearing completely different advice depending on who they're talking to. It's just a shot in the dark at this point. You talk to one person and they tell you to run ads immediately and it's the answer to everything. And you talk to someone else and suddenly you're convinced that spending a dollar on paid marketing will bankrupt the company. And somewhere in the middle sits you as a business owner trying to figure out what actually makes sense. And of course, I'm not going to have this conversation alone. I've got uh, with me, Jen.
Hi, everybody. This is my favorite topic ever. Did I freeze?
A little bit, but we're good. I think we're good now.
Okay. So this is, I think, one of my favorite topics ever because there's a lot of misconceptions, contradictions between what us marketing people think about it and what business owners think about paid marketing. Very, very much. I feel like paid marketing has just become one of those things where businesses and business owner thinks, oh, if I just run ads, growth will happen and I'm going to have a bunch of leads. And sometimes growth does happen, but what people don't realize with ads is that it just not just increase visibility externally, they increase visibility internally too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Jen leads paid marketing strategy for the clients here at Iris and works directly with the businesses that are looking to build a growth system, specifically with lead generation daily. And I think when businesses first come to you asking about paid marketing, what's the first thing that you're usually seeing and hearing in the business?
So when businesses come, and a lot of businesses, hold on, my screen. When businesses come to me, the first thing they say is, I'm not getting enough leads. I need to spend money on marketing, on paid ads. Do you think, and they asked me, do you think paid ads will bring in more leads? Would it get us to work more sales, more profits? And my first question is, I stop them right there. And my first question to them is, are you really ready for paid ads? It's everything else on the back end ready. Mm-hmm. So they want to jump right into paid ads, but it's not an opportunity to jump right in unless your business is ready for what's coming.
Yeah, and because I think most businesses, they're riding on what's the standard seasonality of what their industry holds. Like if we're talking about like exterior work, whether that's landscaping, irrigation, it's construction, renovation, all of those are very seasonal, right? Like we're going to see massive upticks between like normally March through October, if you're lucky. And then like, of course, in those heavy snow months, unless you offer something with snow relation, they see a big decline and people are focused on holiday spending instead. On the complete opposite flip end of the spectrum, like our boutiques, our founder-led boutiques that normally aren't what's the word I'm looking for? Like corporate owned, they're going to see a heavy seasonality of decline in the summer. And I would say that's almost like standard in most companies. Even companies like Iris, we see a decline in like those dreaded J months, June, July, January, because people are focused on other areas in their business and they're not focused on, putting money, investing money into the business, which makes sense. So you ride a seasonality normally of where your industry is. And I think what people are like essentially looking for is some stability when they're coming to us with paid marketing. They don't want to feel like I call it like taking a hit on the chin when we hit it at Iris, like something happens, you're like, oh, I got to take it on the chin and keep walking through it, because like there are ebbs and flows every single day as a business owner. And I think what these business owners are looking for when they're coming to us is like, I need stability. I need to know exactly what the income is going to be every single month. I want to do it through paid marketing. That's going to be the answer to everything, right?
Correct. And I
Yeah,
think usually businesses don't start looking into paid ads, not just because everything is failing or they're not getting enough leads or anything, but they want growth. They're taking growth a bit more serious. It's that switch that comes to them and say, oh, the referrals are consistent, but our organic marketing has like hit that plateau that it's stale, it's not producing anything.
right.
So they want that jump to, okay, this is working now. I'm seeing engagement, I'm seeing traffic into my website, I'm seeing leads, quotes. So basically it's just like a switch in a business owner mind, that turns on and say, okay, I think I'm ready. But there's a lot that goes behind it before being ready for it.
Yeah, and I think that's what we lean into at Iris, and what we talk about most of the time is like, you have to have a level of organic stability and predictability. And of course that's going to ebb and flow here and there, but for the most part I think you should be able to historically look back on your business and say, one, I know what my seasonality is, right? And two, like you're saying, organic traction is already happening. I'm already having website visitors. I'm already receiving, like, I know I'm speaking the right way to my audience, that I'm reaching them in a meaningful way through my organic marketing, whether that's newsletters or blogs or social media marketing. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the subject matter expert here, but like when you throw paid marketing into the mix, you're just going to increase all of that, right? Like in a slow, it's not going to put a band-aid over your slow season and you're suddenly going to start seeing 50 leads every single month. You're going to see 75 in your heavy months. I'm just throwing random numbers out right now, and
Mhm.
10 in your slow season. Like you might still see an increase in leads from your organic reach, but it's still going to see a natural seasonality of your business, right?
Yeah, there's going to be fluctuation. It's just like a roller coaster.
Right,
Actually, not every whenever, and I'm just going to throw this out. Any marketing person that tells you, "Oh, this is going to work because I have done this strategy or this system with this other businesses and it's working for them." Not every single strategy or not every single template that they sell you for marketing works for every business.
right.
Everything needs to be separated. And what people need to know is that marketing creates operate expectations, but operations needs to fulfill them. If
Yeah.
operations is not structured the right way to fulfill those expectations, then it's gonna fall apart. It's not gonna give you the results that you want.
Right. So that's a big reason why we do at Iris what we do at Iris, is because we want to make sure that when you're putting actual dollars towards marketing, first and foremost, but second, I mean, we literally say the phrase in consultation, if we're putting real money towards a digital asset, meaning paid marketing, we want to be sure that one, it's going to produce results for you, and two, that you're ready for those results. Like, do you have the customer success team in place? Do you have the onboarding workflow in place? What is your invoicing like? What is your fulfillment like? Because all of that is going to increase when you start seeing results behind the digital dollars you're putting in, right?
Yeah, and it's a lot of people think that pay marketing performance, it's mostly about, oh, I'm going to create an ad and I'm going to do the targeting for the market and that's it. And yes, strategy does matter a lot and it inputs a lot of heavy weight into it, but performance is also heavily influenced by the structure underneath the business. So
Yeah,
everything that you just mentioned, on the onboarding, the scheduling, the communication flow, fulfillment, even your website, your landing pages, everything needs to be like an orchestra. Everything sings together. Everybody knows their notes. Everybody know when to hit a high or low note, and everything works.
right. Right. So that kind of brings business owners to the next question. At least as a business owner, it's my next question, which is my business operationally ready? And how do we navigate that? So, what systems should already exist before running ads? And we're kind of touching on it already, but I know, Jen, you're going to speak more to like the organic marketing standpoints that you should know and be aware of. Like, how many visitors are you getting organically to your website? Do you know where they're going on your website and where they're clicking and when they're dropping off on the website? Because you review all that before you start running page, right?
Yes. A lot of the things that we need to um, talked about before even going, it's the analytics behind it. Before even going into paid ads, we need to do a whole SEO research on your website. We need to do a full analytic report on your website and see when people are going in, when they're dropping off, what is it not coming for them to end into a full on contact form from your website. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it, it's more of what you already have in place and where it's not working. Because once you start doing paid ads, it's not gonna make that problem disappear. It actually is gonna blow it up. And then you're gonna feel like, oh, I'm paying all this money and nothing is working. It's not because the ads are not working. It's what you already had before that it's not strategized and structured the correct way.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like too many, excuse me, 1 second.
No worries.
Too many conversations from consultations we've had is like flowing through my head right now of business owners who tried to run paid ads without working with somebody trained in it. And
Mhm.
when I say trained in it, I mean like has spent years, uh, first of all, educating themselves on it or going through an education on paid marketing. But second, learning through action, learning through the actual work of doing paid marketing. And I think there's just a lot behind the scenes of paid marketing that people don't know about, because a lot of people will be like, what do you mean it's going to take this much time to execute this much money towards a paid ad? But what we try to look at, and not every company is like this, and so this is part of the process, right? As a business owner, you're trying to look at what partner is going to be the right partner for me and my business and what I want to do, because you probably have some kind of semblance of an idea in your mind of how you want this to look. And at Iris, what we normally do, I mean, like, I can give a great example. We had a consultation with somebody that was like, I have no leads coming in. I'm not reaching people on an organic. I'm not reaching people through SEO. I'm not, I'm pretty much just getting referrals. And so I want to run paid ads. And like the first thing that like transparently ran out of my mouth was like, you're not ready for them then. Like, if nothing is happening organically, we're not ready for them, because we can't increase any level of predictability if we're just looking at a referral based business right now. So I think, Jen, when you started with this business, you actually started by looking at SEO first and saying, like, what is it producing? When's the last time it was touched? Which I think it was like a couple years.
Yeah.
And then, like, what kind of organic marketing is in place? What are our content pillars? What is our audience liking and not liking? And how do we continue to lean into that? And then even beginning to look at your lead funnels, like if there are lead magnets in place or not, but where are your leads coming in right now? And what's the process that they work through? Because, like you said, the second you run paid ads, there are just going to be more people running through that process. And SEO is still a part of how you set up paid marketing, because we're still targeting by keyword searches, right? And the people that, we're retargeting people that landed on your website. We're niching down to the audiences that you're already trying to talk to organically on social media. And so all of it is just expanded and adding leads to the top. But what really matters is the process that they work through, right?
That's correct. It's that funnel, how you manage to structure your funnel after that person, after you reach your ideal customer. What's going to happen next? After that customer clicks contact, what is going to happen next? And I see a lot of businesses really get excited about paid marketing, because of course paid marketing it's pretty exciting when it comes to seeing steadier lead flow, more visibility into the pipeline, ability to forecast, scalability, growth opportunities. But at the same time, what feels like excitement and acceleration also exposes all the structural weaknesses far faster than you can imagine in a business. And
Yeah.
that's where everything kind of crumbles. And then that's when you see people, for example, people, I have seen clients spend thousand, and when I mean thousands, I don't mean 2,000, 5,000. No, I mean 16,000, $20,000 in marketing that has produced absolutely zero,
Yeah.
nothing,
And we've heard
nothing.
it in consultations too, unfortunately. I mean, it's the worst thing that we can hear, but but it happens too frequently. And
Yes, and
I think the mindset then, like what I would encourage business owners to do, at least from what I've learned from you, is that like instead of viewing paid marketing as your pressure test, your pressure test should be your busy season, and is everything flowing operationally and generating positive revenue, right? Because if that is flowing and it's you're in your highest pressure moments currently, then when we start adding more leads to the mix and we start reaching more people, then we know it's going to be something that we can continue on with.
that's right. And I think pay marketing, it's exactly what you mentioned. It acts like a pressure test, and it will test your business in many forms that you ever never even thought about, because there's that growth and scalability part of it that now you can see it because it's bigger. The problem gets bigger as it goes if it's not structurally right. So it doesn't, pay marketing, sometimes business say that it creates problem. It doesn't create a problem. It reveals the problems that were already there, but they were easier to ignore because they're on a smaller scale, lower volume.
Right,
So yeah.
right. So I know we've actually had these questions in consultations, and so I think I know the answer because I've worked with you long enough now, almost 2 years. But um, we have been asked, do I need a website to run paid ads, and do I need a Facebook page to run paid ads, or even better, I don't like my Facebook page. What if we just completely scrap it and we start a brand new one and start running paid ads on it? Actual real life scenarios that have happened. Jen, tell me what your thoughts are on that, because I know there are business owners out there that are like, I don't have a website, I don't want to make a website, but I want to run paid marketing. What do you do?
um so I'm going to say this very, very honest. If you're a business, a small business owner that doesn't make, like, you do crafts and stuff with your hands and all, I mean, that kind of small business, you're okay with just a Facebook page, Instagram page. But if you're a real business and you want growth and you want to run paid ads and you tell me that you don't want a website, I will tell you, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it for you because there's no point. Like, pay marketing, I'm going to mention this, and I mentioned this on a previous webinar for Bows. Pay marketing and website optimization, SEO, it's like salt and pepper. It goes on everything. They're together, they're married forever, and they shouldn't be apart ever. So when you go and tell us, oh, I don't want a website because I don't want to spend all that much money on it, or, believe me, a website, it's money well worth it if you find the right partner to build it with you.
Yeah, and even like a social media page can only take you so far, because like this is how I describe SEO in consultations, and I think Jen, you agree with it. I may have even heard it from you way back when we first started working together, which is like, think of your website as like your number one home base, and then the SEO behind it is taking all of the little strands of hair in the internet universe that exists about your business and starting to braid it together. And it creates a story then, so that your business continues to move up in search engines. Like, based on the keywords that are happening in your industry and in your target audience, right? Based on what your target audience is thinking and literally putting in their keyboard when they're searching Google. And that's really the mindset we have to take when we're running SEO. So my first answer to anybody is, do I need a website first? Hell yes, you do. Yes,
Yep.
absolutely, you need a website. And then the second question that we have had happen before is, do I need a Facebook page, or can I just start a new Facebook page because mine hasn't been active in 2 years? It doesn't really matter if your Facebook page hasn't been active in 2 years. I also don't really care if you as a person don't care about Facebook. If you ever want to run paid ads, you need a Facebook page, because Facebook and Meta and Instagram, it's all one unit now. So we're going to run Meta ads, you need to have the Facebook page. It also doesn't really matter if you haven't posted on it in 2 years. We can help overcome that. What takes time is if you tell us, I want to scrap that business page because I haven't posted on it in 2 years and I want to start a brand new one, we're starting to run into a concern, because Facebook is kind of notorious for this, of saying, oh, a brand new page popped up and now you're running paid ads to a target audience that you've never even talked to before. We're going to say, no, you're banned from posting for 30 days, for example. I mean, you have to have a logical history behind your business and your business page for Meta to even allow you to really run those ads, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
If you don't have those, think of it this way. If you're a business owner, I want you to step away from being a business owner and act as a customer. If you're on your Facebook account, your personal one, and you see an ad, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're not just going to, at least me, this is me. I don't just click the ad, because there's so many fraud and spams and everything going on these days. I don't just click it. I will go into Google and I will search the business first to see if I see a website. Or I will go in the search of the Facebook bar and search for the business. And then I'll go directly to the page. Literally, the ads, when we run ads are for capturing attention. But what's going to happen after that attention is captured? They're going to keep going. They're going to keep searching. They're going to search for your website. They're going to search for reviews. They're going to search for pictures or videos of whatever service you're offering or product.
Yeah, there's too many out there right now that are putting ads out that aren't, I mean, I hate to say it, but they're fake businesses. It's happened to me twice alone on Meta. One last Christmas and 2 years, I tried to buy a rug and the money withdrew, but guess what? I never got the rug. And when those are happening, it's I take honestly accountability for me running into that situation, because I didn't do what Jen just said, which is did I visit the Facebook page? Did I look at reviews? Did I check their website? How real and authentic did their website look? And so people kind of have become a little investigative when they see a paid ad run across their feed, whether that's Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or you name it. If there's paid marketing behind it, they're going to do some investigation work to make sure they're not going to be scammed. And the best way that we can overcome that and show that you're a real and true business trying to sell to them is by having history behind you, at least one organic post a week on the pages, and then a good website behind you, where if they put your name in a Google search engine, your website should be on the first page. So, and then I know so people are coming in, they're prepping for paid marketing, Jen, and they're first coming to us about a Band-Aid solution. The second thing they start to wonder is well, if I have to go through this, meaning I have to be properly prepared for it, do I really need a website? Do I really need a Facebook page? Yada, yada, yada. And then they start asking the question of okay, well, how much is this going to cost me? Meaning, if I want to run a paid ad, what budget should I realistically expect to have to put the money into the digital asset to get a return on dollars, right? So, I know your spiel, but I want you to tell it to the world. So what's your spiel on that?
So the first thing I'm going to tell you, if a person tells you, oh no, we're going to spend right off the boat, we're going to spend $1,500 on ads per month, run away, because you cannot start with that budget unless it's a Fortune 500 company. then yes, they spend thousands on ads. But your small business doesn't need to start doing that. Your small business needs to start with, it just takes $5 a day, $10 a day, depending on the industry that you have. And that's where we come in. We have to do a research and see what your competitors are doing, how big of a competition you have around you. And actually, we can also see if they're running ads or not. And we can see their ads without
Hmm.
even looking. So there's a like an ad library. Meta has an ad library that you can see every single business ad. You can just search the business name and you see it. So that way you'll be able to see what your competitors are doing and then see if it's actually working for them. But every industry is very different, and also not just industry, it's your location, where you're at, your customers, the targeting, everything influences. But what I suggest always for small businesses, start with $5 a day and grow from there. You don't have to start with a big budget. It's just starting, and as long as everything else it's in place, structurally correct, then you can start with a small budget. You don't need a big budget to start paid marketing.
Yeah, it's so true about what you said though about the industry, because like I'm going to give two examples that we have worked in, which is like MSPs, the IT industry, managed service provider industry, software as a service industry. Um, this is a higher niched market.
Mhm.
It's not as easy to reach your clientele, which there's a smaller audience, which means it actually costs more to reach them, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, like, generally speaking, we already have to kind of prepare from the front end that, like, hey, these industries, they're harder, your end user is harder to reach and it's going to cost more. So maybe that's the $10 a day that Jen is speaking on. But then in comparison, like, we were working with like a flooring company. Well, just about any homeowner on the block could potentially need your services for that. And they run more mm, generalized searches when we're looking for this. So it's not as specific. So their cost per ad or cost per day is going to be reduced in comparison to an industry that has such a niched end user, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
something to be careful of, it's when you're scaling your budget. You cannot just see, like, scaling paid marketing successfully requires very control operational part too, operational scaling too. So healthy scaling tends to happen in layer, not explosions. I am going to tell story time. One business that I have worked before in my past is that they saw leads coming in, and I'm talking about 15, 20 leads per week, a lot of them. The ad is working amazing where it is right now with a lower budget, and they say, I want to can you just up the budget of that ad? Can you double it, triple it? I don't know, I want more, I want 50 leads a week. And I said, I don't think we should do that. And a lot of people make that, a lot of businesses make that mistake. They double the budget, triple the budget, and then suddenly everything breaks. No leads are coming in, no engagement, no visits, no traffic. But it happens because sometimes the campaign, the algorithm of the campaign. So you're putting more budget into something that it was already planned and it's working perfectly. And you put in more budget, then you're telling the system, okay, I need to spend all this amount of money in this certain time. So what's going to happen? You're going to get leads that are not good qualify. You're going to get a lot of traffic and bounce back. The bounce rate is going to go higher. The click-through rate, it's going to cost a ton because you're not giving the system, it literally breaks the ads completely. It breaks the whole strategy. So that means that that ad is not meant to be on that level of a budget. If you have 20 leads coming in per week, 15 leads coming in per week, and you break that, then you need to scale back, not go for more.
Right. So, and that leads to another question that we get asked quite a bit in consultations, which is like, how long will this take to generate results? So, on average, what would you say?
So I would say give it about, and I'm being completely honest, it's about when you see steady results. I always say, give me 3 months.
Hmm.
Why do I say give me 3 months? There is a educational and learning process that analytics does, and Meta on the back end, and Google Ads does it, and it actually tells you every time you stop an ad and um re stop
Relaunch.
and unpause it again, it literally tells you it's in the learning process.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Go ahead.
you have to give it time for the ad to learn. It just not stop learning once the learning process, which is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, between 1 and 2 weeks. It just not stops there. The ads keeps learning more and more and more. The further it goes, the longer time it's on, the more it learns, and it
Hmm.
actually makes better use of your budget long term.
Hmm. Yeah, and I feel like you're going to kick me under the desk saying this, but I would say generally speaking, when we're working paid marketing for our clients, they normally are seeing positive results. I would say by week 5, and normally weeks 1 through 4, we're doing a lot of investigative work, like we talked about already, like what's SEO look like, what's the website, movement of your user looking like, what are your social media analytics. So we're like trying to weave all these things together. And so I would say, like, we're seeing positive results by week 5, but to get to the level Jen just talked about of like 15 to 20 leads per week, like that happens over time. And at Iris, we kind of have to build a process that's, you know, individualized to the company that we're working with and the founder that we're working with, based on what their budget is, what their business is, what their industry is, what their end user is, what their location is. And like Jen is talking about, we're running pressure tests to that ad. Okay, it's running really well right now at $5 a day. So if I bump this up to $6 a day, are we going to remain positive, or what's going to happen here? And we continually pressure test that ad before we consider it a successful piece of digital paid media. Um, and then the other thing is, like, we cannot emphasize this enough, whether you're working with Iris or whether you're working with another company, like, stop turning off your ads and walking away from it, whether it's for 1 week or for 3 months. Every single time you start paid marketing, stop paid marketing, start paid marketing, stop paid marketing, you are diminishing your results, and you're starting from scratch again. You are literally going to start from ground zero. So if you are coming to us about paid marketing, our first question is, yes, we can do it, but are you ready to continue paid marketing for now, as long as it's continuing to be successful with us? Because, like, I mean, like, not saying this, in an arrogant way, but like, we put a lot of effort, especially in the first, like you said, the first 90 days into the paid ad. I mean, we're checking that thing daily, and we're saying, like, how is this working together now? How is this, is the website still performing well as more people are starting to visit it? We're constantly analyzing that paid piece. And if we are going to get stopped in week 6, for example, you're never going to really know if the paid marketing worked, didn't work, could work, what next steps there were to take from it. And the next time you're ready to throw it into the mix, you're going to be starting from ground zero again, because you've lost all of the intel on what you started.
Yeah, and it's gonna be very frustrating for business owners, because you're starting from scratch. So you're gonna be seeing everything that you didn't like from the process from the beginning. You're gonna see it over and over and over until you get tired and you say, I'm not doing paid ads anymore. And it's not because it's not working, it's because you're disrupting it from
Mm-hmm.
the get-go.
Yeah, yeah. So, with that being said, like, yes, we're an agency. Yes, we offer paid marketing. Here's our shameless plug. But we also want to help business owners know what the right questions are, or even better, like, what the red flags are when you're sitting and meeting with potential partners that are going to run paid ads for you. And I'm talking about partners that might be individual freelancers. They might be other agencies, or you might be looking to hire a W-2 person. This really can go either way. But I think it's really important, like the very first thing I tell anybody, because of the number of conversations I've had in the very first meeting where people will say to me, well, what results are you going to guarantee me? And if this doesn't work in 90 days, I want my money back. I'm going to tell Iris, that's not an opportunity. That's not how we work. We're
No.
not going to guarantee Jack, because marketing changes every single day, even a little bit. And then you can have massive changes. Like, for example, I work with a compliance company, and when they have a federal regulation that drips in overnight, a change and an expectation, that changes everything. That changes the whole game. You got to check your word on every piece of marketing there and how you are the subject matter expert marketing to your end user, right? Same thing with IT. I can't tell you about, I'm going to say it was only like a year ago that AI started becoming this massive
It's part
word.
of everyday life.
Yeah, now it is.
It's
Now
part
it
of
is.
everyday life right now.
Now it is, but when Iris started and we're only 3 years old, it wasn't. It was still like being introduced to the world. And so, like in the IT world right now, AI is massive and AI is changing every single day. And if your business isn't keeping up with it and your business isn't keeping up with the way your industry is talking about it and your competitors are talking about it and your end user is talking about it, then you're going to have a problem. And so, anybody that sits down with you and says, God, I've even seen the paid ads behind these agencies that are like guaranteed 100 leads in your first 30 days, run the other direction, please. I'm begging you, because it's not, you can't guarantee these results. How can you guarantee anything? None of us can guarantee the next day. So I cannot stand the word guarantee when it comes to marketing results, because things are changing so much. The word people should be using is, we're adaptable every single day. Like, that's what we're going to do for you and your business. We're going to react. We're going to be adaptable. We're going to try to be proactive to what's happening in your industry.
No, and one thing I wanted to mention, I mentioned it before, run away from those ads that said, oh, I promised you 100 leads, 100 likes, comments. Like, I'm going to tell you story time. We're going to pause for story time right now. So a few years, and I'm talking, this is before Iris, we had a client that started using a company like that because they promised engagement and growth, follower growth and engagement on their Facebook and Instagram pages. Do you want to know the end result? He got banned. His account got deleted. Why? Because this company is, yes, you suddenly you go to bed and suddenly tomorrow I have 1,000 more followers. But yes, it's all bots.
Mm-hmm.
Bot likes, bot engagement, bot follows. And before, I'm talking about 10 years ago, Meta didn't care about bot likes or bot engagement, but now they are more aware of it. And if they caught you, because right now, remember, the more followers you get, you can monetize, you can advertise, you get some certain perks. But as soon as they see that you're trying to outsmart them and grow them with bots, you're going to be blocked. All your work that you have been doing over the years, it's going to be for nothing.
Yeah, it's happened too. Like, I have been in literally a consultation 2 weeks ago where somebody told me that the agency they're working with was using a paid list to increase their subscribe list to their emails. So all of those crap generated numbers mean jack to your business. I'm telling you, it doesn't mean anything, because it's not driving the real end buyer to your website, to your subscription list, to your social media, to nothing. And so
it's just like a facade.
Yeah. And so, like, I think this is the biggest red flag that I want to give any and every business owner is, agencies do have the ability to, they have the ability, it doesn't mean they should use this ability. They have the ability to purchase lists. of profiles, of emails, of you name it, so that they can generate results for their clients. And they use them, and it looks really nice on the analytics report. It looks really, really pretty when you see all that green, like, yeah, your followers went up, your engagement went up 100%, insert, insert, insert. And I even have a client that, like, we run organic marketing on only, and every month we'll see a massive decline in followers, not because like we are bringing in any paid list, but they'll say, like, why did we lose 20 followers on May 5th? Well, there's actually a bar at the top of the Instagram pages that says removed inactive accounts. So for whatever reason, there are inactive accounts, or people stop using their Instagram, or they go on hiatus from social media, and the meta world will start to consider them inactive, and they'll clean house of those accounts every once in a while, which can affect your following number. You'll quickly see, like, in your analytics report, you'll go bump, 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 like you're seeing like a steady increase, and maybe like a peak increase on a really good reel, and then boop, one day there's like a drop in followers, and then it jumps right back up to like what your normal is. And that normally is meta cleaning house for some reason. So
Yeah.
when agencies are buying these lists and using them to generate results, you're going to see more and a steeper decrease on that day where Meta cleans house, because they're not real accounts. So that's my number one warning to any business owners. If you are sitting down with a company and says, absolutely, I guarantee you 100 new followers in your first month with us, or I guarantee you this many email subscribers, or I guarantee you this much profit, run away. I'm serious. There's no way that anybody can guarantee what's going to happen, because the game of marketing, it's kind of a game, like you're literally playing with it and saying, like, ooh, did this work? Ooh, this did work. Like, let's try it again. Let's see if it works again. Or it didn't work. And so I'm going to steer away from that this time. So you should be wanting to be creative and playful with your marketing and seeing what generates results. You're not sitting here trying to guarantee results. That's not real.
No, and that's I want to say readiness. When you're ready for paid growth, it usually is not. It looks a lot less glamorous than what people expect.
Yeah.
It needs to be communication. It needs to be ownership. It needs to be follow up, visibility, process consistency. The businesses that actually scale well are usually businesses that reduce friction internally before volume increases.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
I respect that. For example, on Iris, we do that a lot. We internally, like, we are not yet at paid ads. We're very close, but we haven't done paid ads. Why? Because until our structure it's down perfect to the T, we're not ready. And I always tell Krista asked me several times, are we ready for paid ads? No, we're not. We're not yet.
I'm the business owner. Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. No, so yeah, and the other thing I think we see a lot, and this is the other really big red flag that I want business owners to be aware of, is them saying, like, yeah, we'll own your page, or we'll own your website. You don't have to lift a finger. And it sounds very convenient when they phrase it that way. Like, I don't have to do a dang thing. They're going to do it all for me. Run, especially the caliber of business owners we work with, where, like, normally I'm going to say, like, normally up to 10 employees, but like sometimes we get up to 20 or 50 employee companies, like, depending if it's the right fit, but for the most part, I'm just going to say, like, a business of 50 employees or less, you shouldn't be having anybody own that for you. And whoever the lead is for marketing, maybe it's a CMO at that size. If you're a size of like 10 or less employees, it might be the CEO or COO. They should still be a partner in the decisions that are happening with the marketing. So, like, standard at Iris is we're meeting weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. Normally we get to monthly once we've been with a client, like I'm going to say like a year, when we really know and we can communicate well digitally outside of our meetings. But for the most part, like, your marketing team should know how priorities are changing and flexing, and they should be an extension of the business, even if they're outsourced as an agency or a freelancer. It should be an extension of what you are operating internally as. And so I think it's important that when a company doesn't want to provide you the account access, or they say, we'll run it all for you, you don't have to lift a finger, that's your other big red flag. Like, those are the main two takeaways that I hope people can, at bare minimum, run away with this on this webinar: is guaranteed results, or you don't have to lift a finger, run away. And I'm just going to call it out. Like, this might sound a little harsh, but if you are the founder or CEO, if you hear you don't have to lift a finger, I hope you want to run the other way. Because as the founder and CEO, you should want to be a part of that process and have a pulse on what's being said in and around your business.
That's true. There's things in your business that you can definitely delegate down, and you build that trust with your team, with your employees and team members. But there's things that you still need to be a part of, and one of those things is some of the decisions in marketing,
Yeah.
especially when it involves paid marketing, because it's your money,
Yeah.
your money that you're investing.
Yeah. So, for the main takeaways of today's call, I hope people are considering right now a founder, a CEO, a executive that is over the marketing. So maybe it's even a CMO. The things that you're evaluating internally is, like, outside of the function of your business. What will happen if we increase the amount of leads coming in, increase the amount of onboardings and consultations and visitors to the website? What does communication look like? Do we know who owns what? What does visibility look like? Is there a consistency, and is there a capacity for us to increase on this? So look at your peak seasons. And then, excuse me, I'm sorry. Make sure that you know the organic analytics that you're already achieving. So website, your social media pages, your email marketing, we should already know that we're generating positive results there before we consider putting dollars into this marketing. And then last but not least, when you're prepping for those calls, I really hope you know what you're looking for in a partner. Make sure that they can actually write out a process of how they plan to jump in to this business that is already created and structured and systemized. They know their plan to get in there, learn what they need to learn, and generate positive results for you. And they're transparent about that. They're willing to meet with you consistently. They're willing to communicate with you consistently. And they're not going to guarantee results or say, I got it from here, you don't have to be involved anymore, because run away. So I would say that's like the main takeaways here. Do you have any others, Jen?
So I think one of the things is that I want to make sure that it's clear that growth isn't generating more demand. It's
Mhm.
maintaining a consistency as demand increases. So there is no growth in you just getting a lot of traffic, a lot of leads, if you cannot maintain that long term. So the goal isn't just traffic, the goal is sustainable growth. So paid marketing can absolutely accelerate your growth, but sustainable growth happens when the business under math, the marketing is prepared to support it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
absolutely. Okay, so final question for you, Jen. If somebody listening today or listening back, when they listen back, is considering paid marketing the year that they're in, what's the
mhm,
first thing that you would ask them to evaluate before they start having before anything at all?
I think the first thing if they have, the first question you need is, do I have the capacity for growth? The
Yeah,
internal capacity of your business, is it ready for that growth? Do you have the enough personnel? Do you have a process in place to follow up that funnel once the client contacts you? And is it working right now? Is that process actually working with the little leads that are coming in, if it's a small amount, is that process working? And what would happen if that scale? Would that process still work? That's the main question I would ask myself if I was a business owner thinking
Yeah.
into paid marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, if I'm talking founder to founder, I want people to know that you'll see positive results. You'll even see a return on the investment you put in rather quickly, I would say. Um, but to say that you put in $100 and earned five times that, or 10 times that, or 20 times that is going to come over time. So, I think I talk to a lot of people that are like, I put in X amount of dollar, like let's say I put in $500 and I've sold 3,000 from that 500 so far. Why am I not earning and achieving more? It's time. And I think I can speak for myself as a business owner when I say that, like, I'm not a patient person. And so just being willing to put the dollars in and know that it's going to take time to build the revenue and the increase in seeing that ROI, it's just going to take time, is hard for me to hear. It makes anybody nervous to say, oh, I got this much dollars going out this month for paid marketing. Like, yes, it's scary and I'm aware of that. So um, as a business owner to another business owner, I would say mentally prepare yourself. Like, you already know that it's scary and it's going to continue feeling scary. And it's super easy to pull the rug out and say, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm too scared. It's not generating enough sales for me, but at least I've recovered what I put in. You have to be willing, if you start paid marketing, to keep working through it to generate those big results. So, a willingness to be patient and a willingness to kind of face that fear almost before you start. So, all right, good combo.
I love it. Oh my
Me
God.
too. Me too.
I need some ginger tea now with lemon and honey. I mentioned that. Yeah.
I know, right? I know. Rest our voices, baby. Okay, well, we will be back next month. We are hoping to have a guest on. So topic TBD, but be sure to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and we're always sure to announce when our next webinar is. And we hope to see you there. Bye bye.
Bye bye.